Gentlemen, and welcome to the Village of Bartlett Board meeting for June 7, 2016. I call this meeting to order and ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Ahrens, absent. Camera.
Here.
Carbonaro.
Here.
Daney.
Here.
Hopkins.
Here.
REINKE.
Here.
President Wallace.
Here. I've requested that Pastor Andy Doyle do our invocation for this evening. Pastor Doyle.
Father God, thank you for the gift of life and the privilege with which it is, Lord, to impact others' lives for the better. Lord, I pray your blessing upon our time together. Lord God, I pray your blessing upon the people of Bartlett, that it will continue to be a place of peace and prosperity. We ask these things in your Son's name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Doyle.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving on to the consent agenda, all items listed with an asterisk on the consent agenda are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member so requests, in which an event that item will be removed. At this point, is there anything that the board would like to remove from the consent agenda?
Yes, I would like to add item E1. If there's an objection.
Does anybody have a problem with E1 going on the consent, the traffic?
Not at all.
light?
I'd like to remove the bills list.
Okay.
And I would like to add F2, the replacement vehicle request.
Any questions or problems with that? All right, I'll entertain a motion to amend the existing consent agenda, and hopefully I can get this right. We are now removing the bills list, so the amended consent agenda will include items 12D, 4th of July fireworks display request, item 12D2, 4th of July committee amplifier permit request, for 12D3, BAPS charities amplifier permit request, 12D4, BAPS charities walkathon permit request, 12D5, active transportation alliance amplifier permit request, 12D6, Gonzalez amplifier permit request, 12D7, the Scheller amplifier permit request. In addition, we will be amending the consent agenda to include item 12E, Police and Health Committee temporary traffic light for the 4th of July celebration, and also adding 12F2 under Public Works Committee, adding the replacement vehicle request.
So moved.
Second.
It's moved by Trustee Daney, seconded by Trustee Hopkins. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee REINKE.
Yes.
Camera.
Yes.
Carbonaro.
Yes.
Daney.
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
That motion carries. I'll entertain a motion to approve the amended consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's moved by Trustee Kammerer, seconded by Trustee Daney. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Camera.
Yes.
Carbonaro.
Yes.
Daney.
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
REINKE.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next item on our list this evening is minutes. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes for board meetings, board and committee minutes from May 17th, 2016.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Trustee REINKE, seconded by Trustee Hopkins. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Carbonaro.
Abstain.
Daney.
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
REINKE.
Yes.
Camera.
Yes.
The motion carries. Next item we have on our agenda this evening is the removed bills list. I would entertain a motion to approve the bills list.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Daney, seconded by Trustee Kammerer, and I believe we have some discussion.
Yeah, I have one question. There's an invoice amount for $4,627 for Christopher Burke for the Spalding Road Quiet Zone. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
We actually are, for the first time in a long time, making great progress on that. I might ask our Public Works Director to tell you where we are, but I'm anticipating the full quiet zone agreement being on maybe the next agenda or the agenda after that. Go ahead, Bill.
Right, as Ms. Elman said, we've got tentative agreement with Global, who's been one of the businesses that we need to relocate their driveway. And that's what we're planning to bring next meeting. At the same time, we've been working with Metra. Metra has scheduled to redo the crossing this summer out there, so it's kind of perfect timing. If we can time it, our improvements, which is redoing Spalding all the way to Lambert, and then probably maybe 100 or 200 feet west of the tracks, if we can get ours timed at the same time they're doing the railroad crossing, it can save us some significant dollars in excess of a couple $100,000, because Metra has said that they would be able to do that with their maintenance work. So it's good news. We're trying to press forward. The bills that you're seeing are the final set of plans that we're trying to get ready, because we're planning to go out to bid later this month and award it in July. So.
All right, thank you.
This should rectify the ongoing problem with the noise that we've had forever out there, correct?
That's right. Should help the folks along Spalding and up Lambert.
Thank you. With that, is there any other discussion?
I have just a statement. I wasn't going to pull the bills list for it, but I always appreciate when staff makes every effort conceivable to use Bartlett businesses, which I think we do. However, I can still, if I wanted to be particular about a couple of things, pull out certain businesses that we go outside of Bartlett that I don't think we have to. I think if we simply decided that we needed, let's say, parts, we could probably use a business in town. I'm just pretty convinced that we don't have other towns coming and utilizing a lot of Bartlett businesses for what they need. So I would, not that I want to be an isolationist, but I certainly want to continue to stress the fact that we need to continue to use Bartlett businesses as much as we possibly can.
Trustee Camber, you have raised that issue before, and we have made that a prime goal. And so if there's something on that agenda, on that bills list that is outside of Bartlett, you should raise it. And I am quite sure that we will tell you all the places that we checked and why we had to go there, because we really have taken that to heart and agree with you and work very hard to do that.
Yeah, okay. All right, I just want to stress it, that's all.
Thank you. There was a motion and a second. Will the clerk please call the roll to approve the bills list?
Trustee Daney?
Yes.
Hopkins?
No.
REINKE?
Yes.
Kammerer?
Yes?
Carbonell?
Yes.
That motion carries.
Oh, TL is here. Lorna.
Oh, I'm sorry. Trustee Aaron's? Okay.
The records state that Trustee Aaron's came in 7:05.
Well,
right.
you know, my key didn't open the door, and I thought maybe that was a hint. But I don't know from whom.
Did you have to run around the building?
Yes. Well, let's not say run.
Next item we have this evening is the President's Report. I have a couple of proclamations and then some liquor license renewals. And these over here. First one that we have this evening is a proclamation recognizing a Bartlett Eagle Scout, Gavin Burseth, for his community service. Whereas the rank of Eagle Scout is the highest honor that can be achieved by a young man in the Boy Scouts of America. And whereas to reach this rank, a scout must take a long journey from tenderfoot to eagle, earning a multitude of badges and demonstrating that he lives by the principles of the Scout Oath and Scout Law, showing himself to be trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. And whereas at the conclusion of this journey, the scout must plan, develop, and give leadership to others in a service project helpful to an organization other than Boy Scouting. And whereas Bartlett Eagle Scout Gavin Burseth imagined and executed a wonderful community service project whereby he stenciled the message, "No dumping drains in waterway to the storm drains that are connected to Beaver Pond. And whereas helping to keep trash and pollutants from entering our storm drains and streaming into waterways where they can poison and entrap wildlife and deteriorate aquatic ecosystems directly supports the village's goal of providing a safer, healthier, and more earth-friendly home for its inhabitants, be they human, animal, or plant. Now, therefore, I, Gavin Wallace, President of the Village of Bartlett, Cook, DuPage, and Kane Counties, Illinois, ask everyone to join me in applauding Gavin's dedication to his Boy Scout journey, congratulating him on achieving his Eagle Scout rank and being named Illinois VFW Boy Scout of the Year, and thanking him for the valuable service project that he carried out for our Bartlett community. And congratulations to you too, Cheryl. Next, we have a proclamation recognizing Bartlett's 6th grader, Gino Santini, for his civic leadership. Whereas Sycamore Trail School 6th grader, Gino Santini, likes to ride his bike along the Fox River, but finds it challenging to get to the South Elgin Trails from his home on the west side of Bartlett. Whereas as a class project inspired him to mount a campaign calling on Bartlett and South Elgin to cooperatively build a 1.5-mile bike path connecting the path that runs along West Bartlett Road to the Fox River Trail. And whereas Gino says that he wanted to do something that would make a change for the community, allowing both kids and adults easy access to the Fox River for hiking and fishing, as well as the Gail Borden Library and other local attractions. And whereas since posting his petition online, Gino has collected more than 600 supporting signatures and earned the notice of Bartlett Village trustee Aaron REINKE, who said that by drawing attention to the need of this valuable community amenity, this 11-year-old has made a real difference in the village of Bartlett. And whereas since the beginning of this campaign, not only has Gino learned how local government works, he has taught all of us how important the lesson is about being a good, engaged citizen and taking positive action to help improve our community. Now, therefore, I, Gavin Wallace, President of the Village of Bartlett, Cook, DuPage, and Kane Counties, Illinois, do hereby recognize Gino Santini for blazing a trail toward a better local bike connection, thank him for his participation and leadership, and wish him a summer of happy pedaling in and around Bartlett.
You know, we here in Bartlett are, if I may interject.
Yes.
We here in Bartlett are so lucky to have so many gifted children. Gavin, oh my goodness, Gavin, what you have not done. And Gino, at your tender age, you keep up that good work and you challenge your friends to do what you have done. And that's what will keep this Village of Bartlett going. Thank you so much.
Now we have to get on to the boring stuff. Next item under the President's report is liquor license renewals. We have three entities for liquor license renewals. The Class B for Smoking Pit Barbecue, 892 South Illinois Route 59. Class A, JC Mexican Restaurant, 130 West Bartlett Avenue. And Class B, Gap Sparta Food Service, Inc., 782 West Bartlett Road. Everything's in order, and I intend on issuing those licenses. And finally, on the President's report, we have the 4th of July Committee is requesting a Class D liquor license for 2016 4th of July Festival, which is, by the way, June 30th through July 4th. at Apple Orchard Community Park, so hopefully everybody will go out to that. The certificate of insurance has been submitted by the 4th of July committee, and everything is in order. With that, I'll entertain a motion to approve this Class D liquor license for the 4th of July committee.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Daney, seconded by Trustee Carbonaro. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Hopkins,
Yes.
REINKE,
Yes.
Aaron's,
Yes.
Kammerer,
Yes.
Carbonaro,
Yes.
Daney.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next item we have on our agenda this evening is under question and answers. Any questions that anybody has for their staff right now? Hearing none, we will move. Oh, go ahead. Gil?
I'm sorry. How is the, are we still in touch with the developer for the property at West Bartlett Road, the southwest corner, no, the southeast corner of West Bartlett Road and
59. We are on a regular basis. That's a Crown family. And most recently, we've been talking to them about the fact that IDOT, from our encouraging, has agreed when they do their intersection improvement to have dual lefts on all intersections, which will be a huge project for them, a whole lot less money than any of us are going to have to spend when that develops. Also, we're looking to see if there's a piece of their property closer to the corner that we might put the Bartlett Hill sign on that the board's been talking about, and they've been very cooperative in, you know, showing us some of the land there and what we might be able to accomplish. So we've kept in pretty close touch.
thank you.
I have a couple things I'd like to say. About 2 weeks ago, I had the opportunity of going out to Bartlett Hills for lunch, and it was a decision that, in lieu of going to Pasta Mia, we decided to go to Bartlett Hills, and we had 6 of us there for lunch. It had been a while since I've had lunch at Bartlett Hills, and I want to tell you the lunch was outstanding. The quality of the food was absolute. It was better than restaurant quality. It was fantastic. And I'd like to thank Paul, and I'd also like to thank Anthony, our new head chef at Bartlett Hills, because they did an outstanding job. We are extremely pleased, and I invite everyone to try Bartlett Hills for lunch occasionally. It is really worth the trip. And just want to make one comment. I'd be remiss. We had talked about, Trustee Kammerer had talked about village, trying to purchase as much in the village as they can. And as that conversation finished, I remembered, but I can't remember the specifics based on my age, that somebody had told me that in Public Works they were buying some equipment or replacement parts for the vehicles. And they were buying them here in Bartlett. And they had been buying them, I believe, in Streamwood prior to that. And they found that the parts that they were using were deficient in relationship to the parts that they were buying in Streamwood. So I understand our desire to purchase as much as we possibly can in Bartlett, but I sure don't want to tie the hands of any of our departments if they feel that they can get superior equipment at another source. So that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Well, one comment I want to make is kudos to staff in Public Works on the outstanding flower baskets we have coming into town. It's looking good. They're big. They're brilliant. That's the only way to do it. If we're going to do it, then go big or go home. That's what I say. So, let's have them just keep making them bigger and bigger so that people come into the town, they just look at it and run off the road because they're looking at baskets. Well, maybe not.
I think Dan made a comment and staff saying picking flower baskets is one of his specialties.
Well, there you go. So very good.
And I recall having to have a couple ladies from the village having to go over and give the final approval. Were you in on that meeting?
I wasn't, but I'd like to be next year.
Okay. Next item we have this evening, if there's no other questions, is the town hall portion of our meeting. This is the portion of the meeting where if you'd like to address the board, feel free to step up to the podium. Make sure you state your name and your address just for the record, and make sure Lorna can hear you. And try to keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Would anybody like to address the board at this time? Comments about flower baskets?
I love flower baskets. Good evening. My name is Jennifer Rasmussen, 361 South Hickory Avenue, and I would like to address the issue of backyard chickens. I've been a Bartlett resident for 38 years. My husband has been here for 33. We've raised our children here. We attend church here and numerous events throughout the year. It's our home. We strongly believe in a self-sufficient lifestyle, and part of that lifestyle includes growing and preserving some of our food and hopefully keeping backyard chickens for a fresh supply of eggs. I know there are some concerns on this issue. Many of them are myths, and I'd like to address some of those. Most people who choose to raise backyard chickens care very much for their birds, and they do a lot of research into the care of their flock. I've spent almost 10 years researching this and homesteading as a whole. It's always been my dream to have a homestead, and with the rise of urban agriculture and the slow food movement, it seems like it might finally be a reality in the village my husband and I call home. There are so many benefits to backyard chickens. They're wonderful pest control, eating ticks, flies, mosquitoes, slugs, caterpillars, etc. When it comes to waste, statistics show that 10 chickens produce less waste than a 40-pound dog, and it can be composted when done correctly. They don't require a lot of space. 4 to 8 square feet of space per bird is adequate. I know that some people are concerned with chickens that aren't allowed to free range, and truthfully, that can be very dangerous because it subjects the bird to attacks from the air. The enclosed run would keep them safe. They also do not attract predators. If the predators aren't already here, there is no predator hotline where they can call to find out where the chickens are. Trash out before garbage day is a bigger issue than backyard chickens. When you factor out roosters, chickens are not very loud. They're about as loud as a human conversation, which is 65 decibels. A barking dog is about 90 decibels. So I strongly encourage the board to change the ordinance to allow those of us on smaller residential lots to raise backyard chickens. It could have a wonderful impact on the community. I'm willing to get involved in any way that I can to help. So many other towns have done it and are in the process of doing it. Places like Volo, Naperville, Chicago, and Oak Park already allow it. Sleepy Hollow, Aurora, and West Dundee are considering it. Bartlett could set a great example for those places. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Rasmussen.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
How big is your lot?
We are a quarter acre.
Okay. And you said the chickens need between 4 and how many?
4 to 8 square feet of space per bird.
Per bird, okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
I would challenge the dog comment. I think my dog produces more waste than 100 chickens.
Hi, my name is Tiffany Crawford. I live at 246 Patricia Lane here in Bartlett.
What was your first name, ma'am?
Tiffany.
Tiffany Crawford?
Mm-hmm. I'm a professor at Harper College with field experience in sustainable agriculture in Haiti, but I'm here to talk to you tonight as a parent. I have a child, not just this chickadee, but a bigger one. This is my son, Jack. Jack has a diagnosis of autism. The current trend is 1 in 68 children will be diagnosed as being on the autism spectrum in America. And this is Jack feeding my mother's chickens. I brought a letter today from his occupational therapist talking about the therapeutic benefits that caring for animals, and particularly chickens, can have to children on the spectrum. So I'm just going to read this letter. It's under 3 minutes from Robin Tice, his occupational therapist at Fox Valley Physical Therapy and Wellness. I'm writing this letter in regards to my patient, Jack Crawford. He is a 4-year-old child with a diagnosis of autism, resulting in issues with self-regulation and modulation due to sensory processing issues. He also experiences difficulties with bilateral coordination and attention. He benefits from a variety of sensory experiences, which include heavy work, proprioceptive input, vestibular input, tactile input, and auditory input to assist with maintaining a regulated state in preparation for functional activities. Sensory experiences occur in our environment on a continual basis. Although Jack is provided with organized sensory input during his treatment sessions, it is also encouraged that this input is carried over into the community through seeking out purposeful activities. Farm and nature experiences bring a significant amount of sensory experience, which allow for active engagement and learning for children. Currently, Jack has been participating in a variety of activities on his grandparents' farm, which include taking care of chickens. This includes carrying feed to chickens, feeding chickens, gathering eggs. These tasks provide sensory input related to heavy work, tactile, and auditory input. His involvement on the farm provides chances to work on strengthening bilateral coordination, following directions, attention to task, and language development. He is very motivated to work with the chickens, and this assists in developing his language skills as he interacts with others during a functional activity. When these interactions occur in a meaningful environment, it builds success and can develop into a lifelong interest. These skills learned on the farm can carry over into everyday life and build solid pre-vocational skills. I highly recommend that Jack continue to engage in all aspects of farm life due to the benefits and level of enjoyment that he experiences. Thank you.
Thank you. And who did you say the letter was from?
This is from his occupational therapist.
Okay.
My son receives speech therapy, occupational therapy. He went through early intervention, and he currently receives physical therapy as well.
How big is your lot?
What's that?
How big is your lot?
I think we're on less than a quarter of an acre, but I'm not really advocating for myself to get chickens. I'm just supporting that that it be permitted for other people who want them, because it can provide therapeutic benefits. So I brought 2 copies of the letter so that I can leave those for the committee to consider. Just leave them.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Crawford. And well done on the juggling act there.
Oh, thank you.
I remember those days. Would anybody else like to address the board at this time?
My name is Christina Augustin. I'm actually from Elgin, at 584 Covered Bridge Drive in Elgin. And I came here on behalf of a request from Jennifer herself, and I actually bring my friend Steve, who owns chickens in Elgin. I spearheaded the movement in Elgin 2 years ago, and we rolled out a pilot program, and then we finally enacted it into law about a year ago now. Or actually, no, I'm sorry, this spring. So it was a year of process, a year of pilot, and now all of a sudden we have the law. I would like to offer myself here officially as a liaison to another city where I believe that this could definitely work, and also as a resource for anyone who might have questions, either now or later, and how we achieve this and what the implications were, what some of our challenges and what our overall successes were. I'd like to sort of piggyback on the last woman that presented and say that some of the implications of this program are outside of just having 4 birds in your backyard. The sense of community that you could potentially bring, I think, is demonstrated right here and right now, in that Jennifer found me because of the work that I'd done here and in Aurora, Elgin in Aurora, as well as Steve, who's taking time out of his own day to come to another city where he has no dog in this fight to just advocate for something that has been somewhat life-changing and community building. So with that, I'll leave you.
Thank you so much.
Any questions?
Well, I would ask a lot of questions, actually, but it might be easier if you kind of highlighted the challenges that you've had and stuff, and then shoot an email so then all the board can read it.
I'll be more than happy to do that.
That would be excellent.
I'll leave my contact information if anything comes up that you'd like to chat with us for.
You can reach. Yep.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to address the board at this time?
To note, I have less than a quarter acre lot too. Just
Okay.
nothing crazy.
And you do have chickens?
Yes, I do.
All right.
I've got 4 of them.
Hello, my name is Laura Fazio. I live on 229 Northeastern Avenue in Bartlett, and I'm also here just to support Lisa in her quest for backyard chickens. I moved to Bartlett 2 years ago. Actually a little bit less than 2 years ago, and I love this community, and I would love to raise my kids in this community, and I think backyard chickens would create a sense of community also. My sister-in-law in St. Charles has chickens, and all the neighborhood kids come around and they help with the chickens, and it gives them a really sense of community on their block. I also feel that one of my nephews has a very high egg allergy, and he can actually eat those chickens. So, not chickens, oh my God, the eggs from those chickens.
We understood what you meant.
Yeah. And that says a lot about what we eat. And so for kids who have those needs, and also children that have special needs, like the other speaker said, that could really benefit our community also. And I had one other thing, but right now I'm drawing a blank. But I'm also here to support and petition and do whatever we need to do to get those in our backyards. And I also, I think, have a 1/4 acre, but I'm not sure. So.
Thank you, Laura. Anybody else? Bees or chickens?
I'm Tony Berg. I'm a neighbor who lives across the street from these folks. And, you know, I was just looking forward to some good eggs. I knew they were going to.
I agree, yeah.
And I love eggs. And, you know, I was listening to a report on the news today about our food sources. Our food sources are, you know, it was interesting. I was listening to a guy talk about a book he wrote about discovering where the source of a McDonald's meal comes from. And the interesting thing is he traced it all back to corn. You can trace back the corn going through the cow to produce the meat. You can trace back the corn being ground up to make corn chips. You can trace back corn to high fructose corn syrup that is in your drink to drink your soda. These things were compelling to me when I heard these things, and I thought, when you're talking about a food source so close to your community and right in your backyard, you know where it's coming from, you know it's good for you. And these things are all sort of open for discussion, and I know I don't have all the answers, but I'm all for the chickens. I live right across the street. I'm kitty corner from them. And I helped them move the chicken coop to the backyard. It was a tough deal because he had to build it Steve had to build it in the garage. And before they found out they couldn't do it. And you know, it was a lot of effort, and it was a great design. The chickens are in good shape. They're in a nice environment. They'll be well protected.
2-bedroom, 1-bath type deal.
What's that? I'm sorry.
2-bedroom, 1-bath chicken coop.
Exactly. All the comforts of the chicken coop.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. So I'm sorry for my presentation. I just got done power washing my deck, so I'm sorry I'm late and all that, but I'm all for the chicken coop. I'm all for the chickens. Please, I wish you would consider allowing them to do this.
Tony, could you give us your address for Lorna?
340 South Hickory.
340 South Hickory. Thank you.
Yes, to address that, we did find out we couldn't have them, and we did get rid of them immediately, so we would just like to have them back.
Do you have a website for your chicken coop building company that you'll be opening up?
You can actually see it on Backyard Chickens for Bartlett, Illinois on Facebook. There is a picture of it.
See, there is actually a Facebook site, Backyard Chickens for Bartlett, see?
Block. Good. Anyone else at this time like to address the board? Chickens, bees?
Bee handler?
Hi, I'm Mike Kennedy. I live at 214 Southwestern, and my wife and I also own multiple other properties here in Bartlett that we rent. Longtime resident, was basically brought up here since I was 2 years old, and I'm just here to support them as well. I'm, a big advocate for, the source of food. There's so many chemicals and hormones and garbage, basically, and and so much of what we eat today. And I just think this is a great idea that somebody can actually source their own food and live a healthier lifestyle. So I'm hoping you guys will consider this. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anybody else at this time? Anything? Hearing none, we will move on. And as you all know, the discussion will then continue after the board meeting adjourns at our committee of the whole meeting later. So we'll be discussing it in more detail at that time. Next item we have on our regular board meeting this evening is under standing committee reports. Planning and Zoning Committee, Chairman REINKE.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nothing for the board this evening.
Thank you, Chairman REINKE. Next standing committee report is under Building Committee, Chairman Hopkins.
Thank you, President Wallace. There's nothing to report tonight.
Chairman Hopkins. Next item we have is under standing committee reports is Finance and Golf Committee, Chairman Daney.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nothing to report this evening.
Thank you, Chairman Daney. Next item we have under standing committee reports is License and Ordinance Committee, Chairman Ahrens.
We have the most items of anybody for this meeting. However, they have all been approved under consent agenda. So that concludes the License and Ordinance Committee.
Thank you, Chairman Ahrens.
Thank you.
Next item we have is under Police and Health Committee, Chairman Carbonaro.
Thank you, Mr. President. The only item we had was covered under the consent agenda. That's all for me.
Thank you, Chairman Carbonaro. Next item we have under Public Works Committee, Chairman Kammerer.
Thank you, Mr. President. And yes, we actually do have something under my committee, and that would be the Sanitary Sewer System Draft Ordinance. I can review the executive summary briefly, and then I'll make our motion. Over the past several years, have brought substantial new development to the Brewster Creek Business Park. A number of food product businesses have moved into the park, and there is potential for further development in this area. This growth was increased waste flows from commercial areas to our sewer and wastewater system. In order to deal with these new waste streams, we sought to update our sanitary sewer system ordinance. As part of this update, a local limits evaluation for Bartlett, the wastewater treatment plant, was completed by Trotter and Associates in 2015. This evaluation, based upon Bartlett wastewater treatment plant waste flows and pollutant loadings, determined the levels of pollutant that the plant can safely and efficiently treat in order to discharge at or below the limits set forth in the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System permit. Prior to the limits evaluation, Trotter assembled a draft sanitary sewer system ordinance for our review, and this was developed simultaneously. And that being said, I move to approve ordinance 2016-44, an ordinance amending Title 7, Chapter 5, Section 7-5-1, Article D of the Bartlett Municipal Code to adopt new sewage system regulations.
Second.
It's moved by Trustee Kammerer, seconded by Trustee Ahrens. Is there any discussion?
I have a couple questions. We probably covered them at the committee level. For Mr. Dinges, when too much fog is going into the sanitary sewer system, what are the potential problems?
Fog is fats, oils, and grease, and what that typically will do to our sanitary sewer and lift stations is start to clog it up, so we would have to clean it out. With the limits that we set, we don't believe we would have that issue as long as the industrials stay below the 100. We implemented the surcharge program from 100 up to the 400, which would pay for any cleaning that would be necessary for that system.
Is there any direct issues that could happen to our treatment facility?
If we had too much fog at the treatment plant, yes, it would impact the treatment plant, but that's why we set the limits where our system, based on the study that we did, can definitely cover that.
I also noticed in the ordinance that we typically review our maintenance and operating charges yearly, and we're changing the ordinance to do it every 5 years. Could you talk about that a little bit, why we're changing that?
Well, one of the things when we go through the budget, finance and public works, along with administration, we go through and figure out how much O&M operations is going to cost versus the revenues. And so we're looking to make sure that we have enough revenues to cover the expenses. To to do that every year. I mean, we're doing it every year, every budget year, so we are doing it. I think when we're talking about the 5-year thing is a more detailed type look at the operations and maintenance and that type of stuff.
So we're still going to look at some things yearly?
Well, every year, every budget year, we're looking at, how much is it going to cost to run the treatment plants, maintain the sewers, maintain the lift stations. We're doing that every year, all year long, really.
Thank you.
I would say, Dan, that we have a fairly unique situation out there, unlike any other community with the amount of food service we have. Wouldn't that be a true statement?
We have, there's definitely an interest of food industry in our business.
I don't know of any other area that's, from a production standpoint, that's remotely close. So I think it's a good idea, to dovetail on Trustee Hopkins, that we keep a real good eye on what the real costs are. Because I think it's a unique situation. I think you can, and you've done a wonderful job of pulling in all of these resources, the MWRD, all of these initials of places that we've garnered information from their ordinances, and we've read through it, and it sounds like all the homework is done, but I still think it's a really cautionary thing. Obviously, you will as well. Mm-hmm. It's, you're looking at it every day.
Homework's done, but now we've got to make sure we're watching it very carefully.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And we'll get that through the sampling that is going to be required with the pre-treatment permits that we'll issue for those industries.
Yeah.
That being said, though, wouldn't you say, Dan, that this is a very positive thing from a business standpoint, from the prospects of having more businesses come in with less stringent regulations?
Yes, the limit of 15 was very strict, much lower than any communities around us. So bringing it up to 100 hopefully will enable those businesses to consider Bartlett in the future.
Absolutely. That's the way I see it. Yeah.
Very good. And have we heard any, before we vote, any backlash from any of these businesses that are understanding how this is going to work?
No.
Any like, oh my gosh, it's too strict, oh my gosh, it's too expensive?
Not at all.
All right, good. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee REINKE?
Yes.
Aaron's?
Yes.
Camera?
Yes?
Carbonaro?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
That motion carries.
And thank you, Mr. President. That's all we have under Public Works this evening.
Thank you, Chairman Kammerer. Next item we have this evening on our agenda is new business. Would anybody like to address new business? One of the things that I wouldn't mind just sharing with everybody for new business is that I had requested that staff kind of give us a rundown so we can be more vocal about the activities that are going on in Bartlett. Ravinia concert, it's June 10th. That's behind, is that behind the art, or behind the library? Is that where that's at?
Yes.
Ravinia concerts behind the library, June 10th, July 15th, and August 12th. BAP Charities Walkathon, June 12th. We'll be walking tomorrow, and I believe Trustee Aaron's had committed some dough if anybody else is going to walk. Are you going to pay half if I walk?
I'm waiting for a count.
We'll get Anil to do that. Bartlett Arts Festival, June 25th and June 26th. If you haven't ever been to the Bartlett Arts Festival, I would strongly recommend making a trip over there. I've had the honor of being able to be the honorary judge. I knew very little about art the last 3 years, and my wife just loves walking around there. Some of the people are coming in from Florida. Some of these artists are coming in from all over the country, and some of the art is pretty amazing. And they love sitting there talking to you about how they do their art. So the Arts Festival, 4th of July Festival, of course, we talked about. National Night Out events, July 29th through August 2nd. Heritage Days, September 9th to September 11th. Lions Club Dash, September 11th.
I'm sorry, it's the Lions Club Labor Day Dash.
Lions Club Labor Day Dash, so we kind of know when that is, September 11th. And the Kickstand Classic, which is the newest event, our bike race on September 25th. A lot of stuff going on.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I do have a question. In a memo we received from, I think we talked about having twilight golf at Bartlett Hills, but the Park District Foundation is having a Twilight Golf in September as well. Are those 2 dates going to conflict, or are we drawing from the same group?
With the Park District, and if it is a conflict, we can. We'll be sure to check the date with the Park District, and if we do conflict with the foundation, we can change our date. I don't know if there's a specific group of mad Twilight golfers out there, but we certainly don't want to thin the crowd for either one of us.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Is
Yeah.
everybody going to the breakfast tomorrow?
Yes, that's right. The annual chamber, village chamber breakfast tomorrow morning. So I get an opportunity to eat breakfast for the village chamber at the Bartlett Hills, and I'm having lunch there with the gentleman, just like Ray said. So,
Oh, you'll enjoy it.
yes. Anything else? Hearing none? No questions. I'm assuming we're finished with that as well. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. We'll move right into...
So moved.
Second.
Committee of the Whole. It's moved by Trustee Aaron's, seconded by Trustee Daney. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Aaron's?
Yes.
Camera?
Yes.
Carbonaro?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
REINKE?